Hotep, everybody. This is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show. It is Monday, October 2nd, 2023. Well, we got good news from the U.S. Congress late Saturday, September 30th, 2023, as the U.S. Congress narrowly averted a potentially catastrophic government shutdown. You know, we've been talking about this here on the African History Network show. If the government had shut down, there would have been 4 million federal government employees who would not have been paid. We know 18% of federal employees are African Americans. The last government shutdown took place December 2018 through January 2019 under the Trump administration, and it lasted 35 days and cost the U.S. economy $11 billion, $3 billion in December 2018. $8 billion in January 2019. Now, the House of Representatives earlier in the day on Saturday, September 30th, in a stunning turnabout, approved a stopgap plan or bill called a continuing resolution or CR to keep the federal government open for 45 days until November 17th. Now, hopefully cooler heads will prevail and we won't be in the same situation again come November 17th. Now, after the U.S. Senate passed the bill, President Joe Biden signed the bill into law shortly before midnight. Once again, Democrats saved the American economy and kept the government from shutting down. Representative Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York, and Democrats saved America once again. Now, the measure, which is called a continuing resolution, you probably heard that term a number of times in the media, and we talked about it here on the African History Network show, was approved by the House of Representatives on the vote of 335 to 91, with 209 Democrats voting to approve the bill and 126 Republicans voting to approve it. But you had 90 Republicans who voted against the continuing resolution. You had 90 Republicans who voted against the continuing resolution. They voted to shut the government down. Okay, 90 Republicans. And one Democrat also voted in opposition to the bill, but that's because the funding for Ukraine was stripped from the bill. Now, Kevin McCarthy said that he promised President Joe Biden that there will be another bill coming up to pass more funding for Ukraine. President Biden wants $24 billion in additional funding for Ukraine. It's been about $113 billion so far for Ukraine. Now, it's important for people to understand also the 2023 federal budget was about $6.3 trillion. Now, when the bill went to the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Senate passed the bill 88 to 9. There were 9 Republicans who voted against the bill. All right. Now, the U.S. Senate did not have time to debate because the U.S. Senate was short on time, they scrapped their own stopgap measure that contained $6 billion for Ukraine and voted for the one that already passed the House of Representatives. Now, in a rapid fire sequence of events on Capitol Hill, a coalition of House Democrats and Republicans voted to pass a plan that would keep money flowing to government agencies and provide $16 billion for disaster recovery efforts. Now, that bill did not include money for Ukraine, despite a push for it by the White House and members of both parties in the U.S. Senate. But House Democrats embraced the plan anyway, seeing it as the most expedient way to avoid widespread government disruption. Now, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who had for weeks brushed off demand to work with Democrats on a spending solution, outlined the proposal for Republicans in a closed-door meeting on Saturday, September 30th, and then Saturday morning, September 30th, then rushed to get the bill on the floor under a special procedure that required a 2/3 majority vote in the House of Representatives. This meant that he had to rely on Democrats to vote for this bill as well. and 209 Democrats voted to keep the government open. Only 126 Republicans voted for this bill. Now, House Democrats initially complained that Kevin McCarthy sprung the plan on them and was trying to push through a 71-page bill without sufficient scrutiny and them having time to read the full bill. But they also did not want to be accused of putting U.S. aid to Ukraine ahead of keeping government agencies open and paying 4 million federal employees, including 2 million members of the military and 1.5 million federal employees. Check out this article from the New York Times. Congress narrowly averts shutdown as House Democrats help pass stopgap bill from September 30th, 2023. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, quote, "The American people can breathe a sigh of relief. There will be no government shutdown." Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is a Democrat from New York. He said, after trying to take our government hostage, MAGA Republicans won nothing. After trying to take our government hostage, MAGA Republicans won nothing, end quote. Now, in a statement after the Senate passage of the bill, President Joe Biden called it, quote, "good news for the American people," end quote. He added that I fully expect the speaker will keep his commitment to the people of Ukraine and secure passage of the support needed to help Ukraine at this critical moment, end quote. Now, we know that on Friday, September 29th, we know that a funding bill failed, okay? And all of this happened after Friday, September 29th, when 21 Republicans rebelled against the Speaker of the House of Representatives, led by Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida, who's a conservative bomb thrower and top Donald Trump ally. They voted Friday afternoon to stop a 30-day funding bill, leaving Republicans without a game plan to avert a shutdown. Now, that vote failed in the House of Representatives by a vote of 198 to 232, 198 to 232, 198 yes, 232 no, and 21 Republicans voted to shut this down. The Republican hardliners say they are unconcerned if the government shuts down, as it appeared likely to do so before the stopgap measure passed on Saturday morning. All right. Check out the article from, there's a good article from NBCnews.com that deals with conservative rebels tank McCarthy's funding bill, raising odds of a shutdown. And let's flip over to that article. This one right here, conservative rebels tank McCarthy's funding bill, raising odds of a shutdown. Now, this article is from Friday, September 29th, 2023. Okay. And in the piece here, it says the hardliners say they are unconcerned if the government shuts down, as it appears likely to do so at 12:01 a.m. Sunday. They want the House to pass all 12 appropriations bills with steep spending cuts, then negotiate funding with the Democratic-controlled Senate. Moderate Republicans lashed out in fury at the conservatives who voted down the funding bill, with specific criticism reserved for Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida, whom they accused of fomenting chaos to oust Speaker of the House, Representative Kevin McCarthy. Quote, now, Representative Mike Lawler, Republican of New York, who's a moderate Republican, he said, unfortunately, a handful of people, and in particular, a party of one, Matt Gaetz, has chosen to put his own agenda, his own personal agenda, above all else. There is also there is only one person to blame for any potential government shutdown, and that is Matt Gaetz. He's not a conservative Republican. He's a charlatan, said Representative Mike Lawler, Republican from New York. Now, we know that Matt Gaetz has also been threatening to call a vote to oust Representative Kevin McCarthy. We have more information on that for you as well, because something very important took place today in the House of Representatives. I want to go back to this piece here from the New York Times. So check out this article. Congress narrowly averts shutdown as House Democrats help pass stopgap bill. Now, moderate Republicans lashed out in fury at the conservatives who voted down the bill on Friday. If we look at some of the budget cuts that Republicans wanted, I want to go to, I posted about this on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, on Friday, September 29th. And this came from the readout with Joanne Reed. GOP, let's look at this here. GOP plan slashes social safety net. GOP plan slashes social safety net. So if the Republicans got their way, 1 million low-income mothers and young kids would have been forced onto a wait list for nutrition aid. There would have been a 70% cut to home heating assistance ahead of winter months. There would have been an 80% cut in funding for public schools with high concentrations of students in poverty. An 80% cut in funding for public schools with high concentrations of students in poverty. So that would have disproportionately hurt African-American children and Latino children. There would have been a 33% cut to housing subsidies, and 60,000 seniors would lose Meals on Wheels. This is what Republicans wanted. This is why I warned people during the 2022 midterm election and said they had to be defeated and could not take back control of the House of Representatives. Okay, you're dealing with a lot of people who are trying to inflict harm through policies that they're passing, and they target the social safety net while they want to give more tax breaks to the wealthy. Now, here's what could have happened if the federal government shut down, and hopefully they can pass a budget and it passes all 12 of the appropriations committees in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate and get signed into law. Federal employees, you could have had pay for 4 million federal employees that would have stopped, and roughly 850,000 employees could be furloughed, which meant they would be sent home with no pay, while the other ones, about 3.2 million, would still have to show up to work, and they would not get paid until after the shutdown was over with. Also, what happens during the government shutdown, when we look at Social Security and Medicare, checks are sent out, but benefit verification and card issuance would stop. When we look at SNAP benefits, okay, in supplemental nutrition aid program, agriculture department may only be able to send out assistance for 30 days after the start of the shutdown. When we look at national parks, over 400 national parks across the country will be forced to turn away visitors. Air travel, which is something extremely important. Air traffic controllers and TSA agents are ordered to work without pay. Now, this caused huge huge long lines. The last time there was a government shutdown going through TSA, and you had a number of TSA officers who called off work. Some did it because they couldn't get to work because they didn't have money to buy gasoline, maybe didn't have money to catch the bus, etc. Some may have done it out of spite. All right. So we have a government shutdown that's been averted. Democrats saved the day once again. I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, but I sure as hell ain't stupid. Okay. I can see who keeps voting for policies that are detrimental to African Americans, and what's bad for African Americans is bad for America in general. Now, we have a new development that's taken place as well. Matt Gaetz has, Representative Matt Gaetz has filed a motion to oust Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker. Washington Post has an article dealing with this, and this happened Monday night about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If we look quickly here at this piece from the Washington Post, Matt Gaetz files motion to oust Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker. As House Speaker. So Representative Matt Gaetz introduced a resolution Monday evening to remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his seat, triggering an expected intra-party clash and setting up a showdown for the House of Representatives to decide whether to depose Kevin McCarthy within 24 hours. So the vote is going to take place within 24 hours, within 48 hours, I should say. The vote is going to take place within 48 hours, and it takes 218 votes, which is a simple majority, to choose a new Speaker of the House. All right, now, it's not clear that another Republican can get 218 votes. Remember, it took Kevin McCarthy 15 rounds of voting to get to be elected. Now, he cut all types of deals with the far right wing of the Republican Party, the Freedom Caucus. Now, Representative Matt Gaetz and a handful of hard right Republicans have repeatedly threatened to go after Kevin McCarthy's speakership if he relied on Democratic votes to pass any spending legislation, because they want to shut the government down. These hard right Republicans, they're blaming McCarthy for doing the right thing, keeping the government open, and relying on Democrats to pass the continuing resolution. So, we know that took place Saturday after Kevin McCarthy could not get a majority of Republicans to support various proposals to fund the government with only GOP votes. Now, using a motion to vacate, a single person can force the House to consider removing the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Kevin McCarthy agreed to lowering the threshold for bringing the motion to win over enough support to become Speaker in January. So Kevin McCarthy is probably the weakest Speaker of the House in the history of the House of Representatives. And he gave up a lot of power because he's power hungry. He's weak, he's spineless, and he's power hungry. And he cut these deals with all these people, and he's stuck in the middle. Now, the effort to depose Kevin McCarthy as Speaker has alarmed many House Republicans, setting up an internal civil war between Kevin McCarthy's allies and those who have pressured him repeatedly with a variety of, at times, unrealistic demands. He cut all these deals. Basically, what happened was Kevin McCarthy's mouth wrote a check his behind can't cash. That's what happened. He cut all these deals with all these people to become Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he's not going to be able to fulfill come through on all those promises. This is what happened. Now, the effort could also force Kevin McCarthy and his allies to strategize with Democrats, further irritating the hard right wing of the Republican Party, because the minority party, the Democrats, will play a determinative role in whether Kevin McCarthy can hold on to his leadership seat. All right. In a speech Monday morning, Matt Gaetz accused Kevin McCarthy of making a secret Ukraine-side deal with Democrats to get a short-term funding bill passed to avert a government shutdown. All right. So read the rest of this piece here from the Washington Post. NBCnews.com has an article on this as well. Matt Gaetz files motion to oust Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker. This is from Monday, October 2nd, 2023. This article came out about 8:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, what's interesting about Matt Gaetz, because I remember that Attorney General Merrick Garland's office announced that they had stopped the investigation into Matt Gaetz when it came to he possibly trafficking underage girls. Well, I was researching this today, and how this article is from it was updated. This article is from October 2nd, 2023. Monday, October 2nd, 2023. House GOP members may expel Matt Gaetz if ethics investigation finds allegations credible. If ethics investigation finds allegations credible. So what happened was the House Ethics Committee opened an investigation into Representative Matt Gaetz in July of 2023. Okay. If we look at this piece here, this is from Pensacola News Journal. Pensacola News Journal. Representative Matt Gaetz pushes attempts to vacate House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Fox News reports that House GOP members may be prepared to expel Matt Gaetz. House GOP members may be prepared to expel Matt Gaetz. Now, the Republican-controlled House Ethics Committee quietly relaunched its investigation into the Florida congressman in July of 2023, CNN reported. Now, House Republican members are prepared to expel Matt Gaetz should the investigation find that Representative Matt Gaetz is guilty of the complaints filed against him, according to Fox News. Now, the focus of the investigation involves allegations of sexual misconduct, campaign finance violations, taking bribes, and this is not a surprise for a lot of people who follow politics, using drugs. If Matt Gaetz is found guilty of using drugs, it would not be a surprise to people who follow politics, because half the time Matt Gaetz sounds like he's on drugs. Half the time he makes no sense. So if it turns out that he's using drugs, that would not be a surprise. Now, Matt Gaetz has denied the allegations. Here's what to know about Matt Gaetz's controversies. Now, the Department of Justice dropped the sex trafficking investigation that they were doing on Matt Gaetz. The House Ethics Committee originally launched the investigation in April 2021, when Democrats controlled the House of Representatives, and alongside a federal investigation into whether Matt Gaetz violated sex trafficking laws. The Department of Justice concluded its sex trafficking investigation without charging him with any crimes in February 2023. Now, the Justice Department's investigation was focused primarily on allegations that Matt Gaetz was part of a scheme that led to the sex trafficking of a 17-year-old girl. It was alleged that Matt Gaetz was part of a scheme that led to the sex trafficking of a 17-year-old girl. Now, the investigation ended over concerns about the credibility of two witnesses, including former Matt Gaetz associate Joel Greenberg, who worked as a former Florida tax collector, and a lack of direct evidence tying Matt Gaetz to the crime. Now, Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including sex trafficking of a minor, identity theft, stalking, wire fraud, and conspiracy to bribe a public official as part of a plea agreement in which he promised to cooperate with federal investigators in 2021. Now, one of the concerns that the Department of Justice had was because Joel Greenberg, they basically determined was an unreliable witness, okay, because of his corruption. So, and because of lack of direct evidence on Matt Gaetz, the Department of Justice dropped the investigation into Matt Gaetz. Now, other allegations against Matt Gaetz. The House Committee on Ethics released a statement on April 9th, 2021, announcing this investigation into several allegations against Matt Gaetz. The short brief did not go into detail describing the allegations, but listed several of them, which included engaging in sexual misconduct and or illicit drug use, sharing inappropriate images or videos on the House of Representatives floor, misusing state identification records, converting campaign funds to personal use, and accepting a bribe, improper gratuity, or impermissible gift. All right. So read the rest of this piece here from the Pensacola News dealing with Sugar Daddy Matt Gaetz, who I call the white R. Kelly. House GOP members may expel Matt Gaetz if ethics investigation finds allegations credible. All right, so there's a lot going on. We have to pay attention to this. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, the adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. Politics impacts every aspect of our lives, from the water we drink to the food we eat to the air we breathe. It impacts our economic empowerment. It impacts the health of our businesses, etc. Okay, so we have to understand how to use politics as a tool to accomplish what it is that we want. All right, so check out the rest of these articles here, and especially this source article from the New York Times. Congress narrowly averts shutdown as House Democrats help pass stopgap bill. There's another one that you can read dealing with this one here from NBC News. Just 3 hours before the deadline, Congress avoids shutdown. This is a good piece here from a free news source, NBC News, because a lot of the articles with the New York Times, you have to have a subscription to be able to read them. Just 3 hours before the deadline, Congress avoids a government shutdown. Okay, so you can check that one out as well. And here's some background information here. Washington Post, September 26, 2023, Kevin McCarthy embraces stark cuts to safety net to win hard right. All right, check that one out as well. And this one here from the Washington Post from their live updates. This is from Friday, September 29th. House fails to pass short-term funding bill as shutdown looms. We talked about this in one of our previous broadcasts dealing with the government shutdown, the one I did Friday, September 29th after I finished doing Roland Martin's show. And this is Shalonda Young. This picture here you see, she's a director of the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, so check this piece out as well from the Washington Post. All right. Hey, be sure to, hopefully you learned a lot today, and be sure to register for the online history classes that I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, normally 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I teach ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Visit our website, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com. TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com to register for the online classes. And right on the homepage, scroll down, you see information about our radio show. We're on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We broadcast on our social media platforms. My class is Ancient Kemet, one of the original names for Egypt, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place, okay? So you can join us Saturday, October 7th and 14th, and 21st and 28th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a couple of videos here you can watch as well. The previews. The class is on sale, $80, regularly $130. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. Actually, we dropped the price to $60. So on sale, $60, regularly $130. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime. Okay. So even after the class is over with, you still have access. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can go back and watch the entire course. Sundays, I teach Black resistance movements from the Haitian Revolution, U.S. Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power Movement, 1800 to 1968. So we're going to have another session of this class coming up October 14th. Okay. Sunday, October 15th. We'll have another session of this class coming up Sunday, October 15th. So as soon as you register, you can go watch the previous classes. This class is on sale, $40. As soon as you register, you can go back and watch the previous classes, and you'll be ready to join us Sunday, October 15th. Also, if you'd like to stop for information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior. Is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get